If you keep people exhausted and distracted, they won't organise. If you keep them struggling and divided, they won't resist. The system isn't broken, it's working as designed. I saw those words posted as a rallying cry to fight back against the increasing authoritarianism of the Trump government. It was posted over on the Substack social media platform where anti Trump rhetoric is not just widespread, but it's encouraged. Anyone reading those words on Substack would know precisely why it was posted and precisely who and what it was aimed at. But context, as they say, is everything. If I took those words and posted them for a demolition and construction industry audience, those words would still resonate. The intended target would have changed, but anyone reading those words within the demolition and construction sector would instantly relate to the message. Exhausted and distracted. Has any three-word phrase ever summed up the lot of demolition and construction workers better? Early starts, late finishes, and unrelenting pressure for ever greater levels of productivity more than take care of the exhaustion. Meanwhile, concerns over both job and financial security provide the distraction. As a worker, your job and your wages are constantly in doubt, even as your employer's shareholders enjoy another hefty dividend, while your company's middle management jet off on another holiday, or when the CEO visits the site in his factory fresh Bentley. Divided and struggling. A demolition or construction worker might be struggling financially, emotionally, or mentally, but in all likelihood, they're doing so in splendid and strategic isolation. Back in the days of direct employment, it was possible to gauge an overall sense of worker sentiment. Workers might discuss their wages or bemoan the lack of pay increases during a morning break. They might gripe about working conditions over lunch. If things got really bad, they might enlist a union representative to take their concerns to the company management. But today, that workforce is divided. In fact, this is divide and conquer writ large. Many workers are employed through agencies. Any gripes would be directed to the agencies rather than to the employer. That agency workforce is also transient, here today and gone tomorrow. There is no opportunity to experience an employer's working conditions over an extended period. A worker's time with that employer might last for the duration of a single project. It might last for even less than that. And that union representation has all but vanished from UK demolition and construction sites, quite possibly by strategic design. In fact, anyone caught banding about the word union these days will generally find themselves heading for the site exit in pretty short order. In my opinion, there is a line missing from that poster, one that again relates to both the current US political landscape and to the UK demolition and construction industry. Keep people ill informed so they can't see what's really happening. In the US, any news that doesn't toe the Donald Trump presidential line or that doesn't share his remarkably narrow worldview is derided as fake news. That isn't just political and journalistic bias, that's the strategic removal of the means for independent thought. It's not presenting all the facts, it's presenting purely the facts that those in power want you to see and to hear. And how is that any different from promises of investment in housing and infrastructure that never materialise? How is that different from promising the construction of dozens of new hospitals that never came to fruition, or the promise of a high-speed rail link to connect the nation's capital with the north of the country that was subsequently cut off at the Midlands? How is that any different to plans for tens of thousands of new workers, greater investment in training and the promotion of vocational skills in schools, none of which ever make it off the page of a governmental manifesto? As an industry and as a workforce, we are spoon fed the information that best suits the needs and ambitions of those in power. Meanwhile, details of massive director wages, shareholder dividends, or impending financial catastrophe are kept under wraps. There are many issues facing the UK demolition and construction industry today: accidents and fatalities, questionable working conditions, workers under constant pressure and stress, and a lack of job and financial security. All of those issues have remained constant, not just for years, but for decades. So perhaps the final sentence of that poster explains precisely why. If you keep the people exhausted and distracted, they won't organise. If you keep them struggling and divided, they won't resist. The system isn't broken, it's working as designed.